Hello, welcome back. I'm Claire, this is Purple Poppy, and today I'm going to be working in this black book again. We've done various things in here. Now, if you've been here a while, you'll know that I'm a great fan of Amanda over at Create with Scrimpy Mummy. And if you haven't seen it yet, she is doing a mixed media project this week. If you're part of her, not this week, this year, if you're part of her Facebook group, she offers freebies to work, the project through with. So I've got the 3 pages. Let's give it a go and see what we come up with. So I'm going to use my Intense blocks, my black book, and obviously we'll need some water and some glue. Now I think I'm going to go for tearing rather than cutting. I quite like that. Oh, look at that, that is almost perfect size. So we'll trim that when we've done. I'm going to use good old-fashioned glue stick. So I'm going to give myself a bit of a frame by going top and bottom. I can hear the rubbishman coming down the road, so I'm sorry, it's probably going to get noisy in the background in a minute. For some reason they feel the need to shout at each other. So we're going to go on there. So there's, as it were, the bottom of my frame. And then to get the straight edge again for the top, I'm now going to tear from this side, but you can see I'm tearing it much thinner than I did the bottom one. Much thinner. Okay, and that's going to create my framework, just to make it a bit cohesive, as it were. So I'm going to get this stuck on the top edge. There we go. We'll find our scissors. Oh, that's not on the top edge, is it, Claire? That's really crooked. You see that? Let's line that back up. There we go. That's better. Right, I'm going to trim these pieces off. Once we've got it stuck down, that is. Okay, so we're going to trim these pieces off. Like so, nice and simple, and then we've got a nice straight edge. Okay, so now we've got this lovely piece in the middle to work with. Now, as you can see, we're basically looking at rusty and ledger type papers, and I'm sure Amanda's done that because it works with the bees and this beautiful flower focal point that she's done for us. So I'm going to cut my flower out, work out where that's going to be, and then I can start playing with the rest of my page. I like to sort of position things before I start with my background. So rough cut that first. Now that's a pretty massive piece on this page, so I think what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to cut into it. You mustn't be afraid to do this. I've talked to you many times before about making digitals your own. You don't have to use them necessarily the way they were designed. Make them your own, use them the way you want to use them. Now, if I'd have thought about it, I could have printed this whole page to a page, and then obviously it would have been half the size, and I could have used the whole thing. Now let me see. See, that is so much better, but I think I'm going to cut this bud off as well. There's nothing wrong at all with Amanda's design. It's a beautiful image. It's just that obviously the size of my page, and that is really my fault because I didn't, as I say, consider the size of my page when I was printing it out, and I could have printed 2 or even 4 to a page, and then it would have been very much smaller and would have worked very nicely. Okay, so you can see Amanda's given us that cut line, but I'm actually cutting on the full colour print area, all part of this making it smaller. So how are you? Are you all happy, safe and well? Getting plenty of crafting done? Got lots of new stuff about to start. We've come to the end now of the 24-25 treasured page swap, so there'll be a new one of those starting on the 1st of March. I believe Melanie is currently taking sign-ups if it's something you think you might want to be involved in. She only pairs people with people in the same country to help with the cost. You see, now that is going to sit there so much better, isn't it? But we will have a bee, I think. Do I want that little one? No, I'm going to have the big one. So quickly going to cut this out using Amanda's lines this time, and then we can get on and get some paint and stuff on our page, can't we? Yeah, so if that's something you think you might be interested in, I will leave a link in the description, because as I say, I believe Melanie's currently taking sign-ups, and you could pop over and have a look at what that's all about. We've got the 100-day project starting on the 23rd of February. I am going to be doing that. I won't film all 100 days, but the days that I don't film, I will quickly show you on the filming days. So yeah, there's lots of stuff going on. What else is happening? Well, of course, we've got the Stitchery Kate in the Nest pouches. That's going on as well. I'm doing the Somerset Studio projects over on Ko-fi. Oh goodness me, yeah, see, busy. Plus I'm doing the alphabet thing with Kirsten, who's doing the ABC JLC. I think it's Josie Lee Creates. So there's that going on. Also, doing the ABC with Miss Painterlot. So there's, you know, it's all going on everywhere. Right, so although I'm going to do it this way, I'm going to turn it this way to get some colour. So I'll open up my blocks, and I think we're going to be using this one and this one, and then maybe a little bit of black just to you know, add some darkness to it. We'll get some stamping on here as well. So can you even see what I'm doing? Yes, you can. So I'm going to get some water in here. So we can get a nice wet paintbrush. I'm going for a semi-chisel This is a 1/4 inch. Okay. I'll bring it back this way because then you can see better. And I'm just going into my water. I'm going to start with my lightest, just down the edge, always taking the water to the block. And you can see I'm just doing this like up and down Z pattern at the moment. Like so. Then I'm going to put that one down, go into my darker one, and I'm going to start to bring that in as well. Now you must remember, if you've done what I've done and you've printed these with an inkjet, that obviously if you put too much water on it you will lose some of your print, because it's a water-based ink. So just obviously be mindful of that. Okay, now I'm just going to get some water and just run over this. You can see the colours are blending in together now. It's not looking quite so disjointed. One of the beauties of watercolour, just blends so well. Should really have something under the edge there so it doesn't damage my other page. Okay, so now we've covered in our background and you can see it's dragged onto our top and bottom just to make it all connected. Now I'm just going to take a little bit of black, not too much, just want to darken up a few areas. Okay, just take some of that line out, we don't want it too liney. Okay, I'm going to give that a little bit of drying time, and I'm going to find some pretty random stamps. Let's have a look. Now this one I love. You may remember this one is a BB Craft one, and it's all invoices, so that's going to give us some interest that goes with that same ledger type paper underneath. So open out my ink, and I'm not going to put it on a block, I'm going to just do them myself, bits and pieces. Now where the watercolour is still wet, you're going to get that blurry look, and you can see the difference between the light and the dark, which I love. Okay, and then we'll use this one, which is like ledger, the same as what's under here. We get a bit up there as well, so we've just got something going on through our paintwork. Okay, now where's my flower? Here's my flower. So again, it's going to sit there. I think before I put it on, I'm actually going to apply a little bit of gesso. Now of course this is still quite damp, so we should really allow that some drying time, or indeed we could use our heat tool. So if I plug my heat tool in, here we go. that feels dry enough. Now you can see this has lifted with a combination of the water and the paint. So I'm just going to run some wet glue under that edge like that. Get that stuck down. Another little bit under there. And it's really obvious now because you can see the paint line. So it's really easy just to put a little bit of glue under there. There we go. So a bit at the top, a little tiny bit there. Okay, so I believe we're nicely stuck back down now. Okay, we're going to have, oh no, let's do our gesso first. So, huge tub of gesso, just because it's the cheapest way to buy it. Okay, and I find, for me personally, this is the best tool. So just tap it in like that, and then I'm just gonna do scrapey lines along, and then I'm going to turn it round and I'm going to do exactly the same. No point doing too much in this corner because this is where our flower's going to be. There you go. That's added further interest. I'm going to close that up. Bring my heat tool back in. Not completely dry, but definitely dry enough. I'm going to bring my flower in, which is going to sit that way. So let's get some glue on this. And obviously you don't need posh things like gesso. You can use a little bit of white paint. You don't need the incense blocks. You could use colouring pencils, especially the watercolour ones. You know, just use your stash. Amanda's giving you these free pages anyway, and I mean, I've chosen to go in this yellow gold tone, but there is a purple one, and if you've got a lavender stamp, then that purple might be, you know, a better choice for you. I'm going to put it to one side there, like so. And then my bee, I don't know, is he going to sit on my flower? Or is he going to be flying in? I want him on the flower, I think. I think that's where he belongs, on that flower. Now I'm just going to give him a little brush with my brown ink just to knock back a little bit of that white. If you're a better fussy cutter than I am, you could cut all the way tight like I did with the flower, but I'm really not that good. Let's run a little bit of this brown over the top to knock back a bit more of that white. There we go. I'm going to glue him up. Whoops. No, no, no. Don't want that. We want him sitting there. So he's a bit on the flower, bit on the leaf, and he sits there like that. You could go on and you could cut more of the bees out, or you could, you know, add some of this that I cut out. But what I'm going to do is I have got these like leafy stencils. They came from Amazon, and these for me are a great way of doing faux sketching. So I'm going to go about there. I'm going to find one of my Micron pens, and I'm going to falsely draw through this. Let's get that here out of the way. So if you follow the stencil, okay, but then you scribble it a bit, okay, it starts then to look hand drawn. If you can draw, then obviously you don't need this sheet, but I can't. So the way to do a photo sketch for me is to do this. So you can see I'm just running this pen down. Now I don't want to go onto my flower there, but I do want to come here. And I know it looks really messy at the moment. Now, look at that. And then if you just obviously join that line up, so that centre line is much more realistic. Okay. And then, in order to join it in with the rest of our painting, I'm going to take a little bit of green and try and match that really dark green that Amanda's got. Let's see if we can do it. It's none of the colours that we had out originally, is it? But what about maybe, whoops, what about maybe this one? And that's going to be too brown, I think. So let's just have a little look. This one, we'll do it on this little piece of paper. That's much too light. Oh, I do think a combination of the two might be interesting. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to swap to a much smaller brush and a rounded brush. I sound like an expert artist, which, trust me, I really, really am not. And then I'm just going to add some colour into this faux sketch. Another time this faux sketching works really well is if you do it on something like dictionary pages. And of course, because I've got gesso on a lot of this page now, it's quite happily taking the water that I'm now adding to it. Need a little bit more water on that brush. It's a bit too dense a colour, although actually it's now looking much more like the leaf that Amanda gave us. As I say, obviously if you can draw, then that's brilliant. Draw yourself some leafy things to sit with your pre-printed flower, but I can't, so I'm just doing these now. And then we're going to try and get a line just down the middle. Yeah. I'm quite pleased with it. And then obviously if you want to bring all of these less harsh and onto here, great way to do that is take that wet brush and a little bit of our lightest background and just bring it back in, and you'll see that you'll start to have a less harsh, because what you're doing is adding a little bit of shadow around there. Doesn't matter that it's getting wet, it'll dry. There we go. And then just pull it out a little bit. We don't want it too strong. There we go. And then just putting a little bit in there, because that's a bit white, isn't it, down there? There we go. And then if you really want to, you could take some paint splatters, but I don't think. Should we try? Let's get a bit of that green. And let's, oh, look at that. That's suddenly come alive, hasn't it? I said I didn't think, but now that I've done it, I'm pleased I did. So there you go, another interesting mixed media page. As always, thank you so much for spending time with me today. Stay safe, I'll see you very soon. Ta-ta for now.